anyone hear me?
Oh. Okay, I can see people can hear you. Probably I need to log out and come in again because I can. Okay, you have the floor. If you can hear me, you have the floor.
Can I get a response in the comment section that you can hear me? Can I get a response to the comment section that you can hear me? Hello?
Hi, Ray. There's already a lot of comments in the comments. I don't know if you can see that. Can you hear
I can't
me?
see any of them.
Oh, there's a lot
I
of text already.
I'm
People are
only
saying,
seeing structured query. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get started. Kalumi, please, can you share my slide?
Are you share a slide for you, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm connected to an administrative endpoint, so I'm not on my own user part. So it's up and down. Just assist to just
Okay,
share
that's
my
fine.
slide so I can.
Okay. So can you see my
All
screen
right.
now?
All right, yeah. So today we are getting started with SQL querying and basics, right? And I can see that some of you know what SQL is. Can we move to the next slide, please? Let's look at the agenda for today, if time will permit. So today we'll talk about what is SQL, why SQL is important, types of SQL, MySQL server, and then we all will do a summary of whatever we have learned on this call today. Can we move to the next slide, please? All right. So what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language and is a way for people to talk to, that is communicate and manage databases. I want to break this down into a layman term for you, right? What does it mean for something to be structured? I want to hear like comment in the chat box. What like synonyms of structured? Synonyms of structured. Synonyms of structured. I'm waiting to see comments. Synonyms of structured. Organized, ordered, beautiful. Please, I'm expecting more response, more response, more response, more response. Arrangement, yes. Arrange. So basically, what structured means is for something to be what? Organized, right? Now, let's go to the next one. What does query mean to you? What does query mean? I know we mostly use query in the organization. Oh, they gave this person a query. You are responding to a query. So what does query mean? Beautiful question. That is what I want. Query means to ask a question about something, right? Now, what is a language? What is a language? What is a language? I'm waiting, I'm checking. What is a language? Yes, a means of communication, a way of interacting. So now let us bring these three words together. So what we are saying is that SQL is an organized way, right, of asking question in a language that a database will understand, or asking question in a way that a computer will understand. And that's why I wrote here that is a way for people to talk to or communicate and manage a database, right? Now, I want to tell you what is a database, because we talk about structured query language. I think the big term in the definition is a database. But before I read the definition that we have beneath, Kalumi, can you go to my third slide where I have a picture of a library? All right. So I'm sure we all have been to a library, right? And we are all NY, so I'm sure your school has a library, whether you've gone to your school library or a public library. So when you enter a library, these are what you see: a shelves of books, right? You see books organized in shelf. So if I want a book in entrepreneurship, what will I do? If you want a book in entrepreneurship, put it in the comment section. What are you going to do? If you enter a library and you want to read a book on entrepreneurship, what are you going to do when you enter a library? I'm waiting. Except we've not been to, is there no library in Ibadan? Except we've not been to libraries at all. What are you going to do when you enter a library? You will check the catalog. These are a lot of catalogs here. You locate the catalog. So if the library is a 3-story building and the catalog you want is not on the 1st-story building, you have to go around the 2nd-story building. What if it's on the 3rd-story building? Will you keep checking the catalog? Right. Okay, so I think the first thing that we do, I'm a kind of old school, is you ask the librarian. That's like the first person you meet, right? When you enter a library, you meet a librarian, and the librarian will ask you, you will tell the librarian, oh, I want a book in entrepreneurship, or I want a book in political science. Then the librarian will tell you, turn right, the 3rd shelf on your right. That is where you locate it, right? So the librarian will be the one to give you the exact location of the book that you are looking for. Now, let's go back to the definition of database. Now, a database is a structured and organized collection of data. When you look at the picture of our library, you notice one thing there. They are structured, they are all in their right shelf, and they are properly organized, right? Collection of books. A database is a structured and organized collection of data that is stored electronically in a computer system. So the difference between what you have in your library and a database is that your library is a physical store where you can enter into, while a database is a computer system. So liken it to a library on a computer that is organized, right? That has all its properties in the right shelf. And this is designed to efficiently store, manage, retrieve, and manipulate data for various purposes, right? If we bring this down to layman terms, if I go to a library, right, everything is properly stored in such a way that if I need a book in entrepreneurship, once I get the right location, I can easily bring out, retrieve the book, right? If I have a library by all the books are jumped together, so I have political science, entrepreneurship, accounting, all put together. If I want a book in entrepreneurship, definitely like we are all going to sweat, both the librarian and the whoever is coming and the student. We are all going to go through a whole lot of stress trying to sort it out, right? So a database is designed in such a way that it stores the information well, so that whenever we need any information or any book, we can easily have access to it. And I say, in essence, a database is like a library where you can store and organize books in a way that makes it easy for you to work with. And there are various purposes why you use a database, right? Just like you all go to the library. Some of you go to the library because of to impress the girls, right? Some of you go to really study. So right, so depending on whatever the business case that you are trying to find out, that depends. That's like the purpose why you want to question the database. That's the purpose why you want to query the database. So this SQL is a structured query language. That means this is me. The SQL interface is our librarian in this case now. So you are the one asking the librarian questions about the information in the database. The database and the librarian, they are in the same location. Remember, if you are going to a library, both the book you are going to get and the librarian, they are in the same location. So the SQL and the database, they are in the same location on our computer system. The only thing that is different is that you are now walking up to the database, to SQL, to now say, please show me the names of all the customers who bought something in the last month. Then SQL will tell you, give me a minute, right? Once you communicate in a language, they based on the performance of your SQL, that will determine the minutes or the seconds it takes for it to give you the information that you are trying to find. If you are tracking with me, please put it in the comment section. Let me know. I understand what SQL is. Put it in the comment section. I understand what SQL is. I understand what a database is. Can you put it in the comment section very quickly? Okay. Can you move to slide 2, Pelumi? After the SQL. The next slide. Okay. So now we talked about a database, right? There are characteristics of a database, just like our library. Can you go back to the library picture? All right. So inside the library, the first thing you find is what? Books. Right? That is what qualifies it to be a library. If they are just shelves, that will not be a library. It can be a supermarket. If I enter into a room and then all I'm seeing is just shelves with nothing inside, I can say, oh, maybe they want to sell bags in this place, or maybe they want to sell provision. So the availability of books, that's what makes it a library. So the availability of data in your database, that is what makes it a database. Do you understand? Follow me the next slide. So the second characteristic of a database is it has tables, right? And these tables are likely to a shelf. So each shelf in the library is a table, meaning that we have a shelf for political science, we have a shelf for accounting books, we have a shelf for entrepreneurship, we have a shelf for those studying law. So each of those shelves are called tables, right? And in your database, you have a record. A record can be likened to a row of data in your Excel spreadsheet. I know in Excel you've been taught row and columns, right? So a record is a row of data, while a field is a column. It's likened to the way you have a column in an Excel sheet, right? Can we move to the next slide? Okay, so now, why is SQL important? In your own knowledge, just put it based on what I've been saying since. Why do you think SQL is important in data analytics? Let me have an like, what do you think based on all that I've been talking about? So now you need to organize data in a database. Why? Why SQL? Why is it important? Let me see if anyone has done a little bit of study. If you have your hand, whose hand? Somebody's hand is raised. Please, I can't really see. Is somebody hand raised? Is somebody hand raised? Adeleke Ajala, your hand is raised.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so I don't know your style, but we take question after the session, so you don't they don't interrupt during the session. I don't know if you allow Adeleke to ask his question now.
Yes, it can, please. It can.
Okay. Okay, Adeleke, your mic is on now.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm not actually asking a question. I'm trying to talk about what he's trying to say, that why is SQL important? Hello,
Okay, you can go on.
Okay. So I feel SQL is important because most companies or most organizations actually store data in a database management system, and SQL is something that is common. Actually, you don't only the data source that we have. For most companies, to an extent, actually have a data administration whereby the query language is being done with the standard query language, which is SQL, depending on different or variants of the SQL. So I feel like it is something important for quick management, efficiency, and accuracy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, you are there. So if you actually have any, like, want to answer my question, I think it's best you put it in the comment section. Don't worry, I'm joined on my phone so I can easily see and then I can read out your, so that we don't spend too much time. So I have here, it saves time. I have, it helps to have a structured data for easy location. Yes, it makes it easy to retrieve specific information in from database. Yes, it is important because it allows us to talk to our data in our database, easily writing human-like language. Yes, amazing. So I'll give you three important reasons why SQL is important, because all of these reasons, I think Excel and the likes can also do them. But what makes SQL kind of stand out from Excel and Power BI, Tableau, and the likes? Number one is scalability, right? When you work for a real life company, the data grows every day because every day they have new customers, every day the number of transactions increases, and as this thing increases, if you try to store those data in Excel has a limit of 1 million rows. So what happens once you exhaust that 1 million rows? Right? It means you start having your data in different places. So when you want to do something like distance count, or when you really want to analyze data, you are confused on where exactly do I want to start from. So SQL database are highly scalable, which means they can handle large volume of data. This scalability is crucial for data analytics, where data analysts often work with extensive data set. So it means that every day our data is growing. So SQL is a platform that can help us to handle large volume of, no matter how large the data is, everything is still stored in a particular shelf, in a particular table. You will not have customer table in two different places because, oh, the space of this particular table is exhausted. So now we now have to continue in another table. No, no matter how large it is, everything will still be in a particular table in your database, right? And also the second reason is data security, right? If you have your customer data or your organization data in an Excel file or maybe somewhere in Power BI, someone can take your laptop and have access to it. Anyone with your password, your brother, your sister, I don't know, your girlfriend, they might just pick up your laptop. Maybe you gave them your password out of love, and then they will just log into your system, and before you know it, they've messed things up, right? But with SQL, it's not like the SQL database offer a robust security features, right? For organization, you have to connect to your organizational server before you can even have access to your database. So it's not something that somebody can just pick your laptop and then just try the connection, because there are a lot of security measures that the person will have to go through, except the person is an hacker and the person really wants to like get a hold of your organizational data. But if not, SQL security is actually very robust. It ensures that sensitive data remains protected, right? Imagine in organization like let's like for that GT Bank now, they tell you that, oh, sorry, our database have been tampered with. So if you have 100K in the account now, which is zero, you have to start all over from the beginning. I'm sure all of us will run down to GT Bank and go and cause some kind of riot there, because we'll be like, no way. Right? So this also SQL is actually very important. Data security is actually very important. And one other important thing that SQL does is historical data, right? SQL helps you to store historical data, making it possible to analyze trend over time. For example, if you have a data, even in your Power BI, if you load data from, let's say, 2005 to 2023 in Power BI, trust me, the performance of your Power BI will decline. It will not be as smart as it is if you just import a data of 2023, right? The larger the thing you import, the more it affects the performance and optimization of your Power BI, right? But with SQL can contain as much as it can, because sometimes your organization might want to do some year-on-year analysis. Maybe they want to see how the company did. For organizations that have stayed for a very long time, they might want to see, so what did we do in 2010? Let's say like a 10-year analysis. So in 2010, what was our profit like? 2011, what was it like? 2012, what was it like? 2013, for 10 years like that. and you can easily like do an aggregation, in SQL, then import just that aggregation maybe to Power BI or Tableau or Excel for you to be able to do your visualization, not importing the entire data from SQL to Power BI. You have to do an aggregation in SQL and then import just that section of that aggregation that you've done into Power BI, right? Because of optimization. So these are the three things that makes SQL very important, because it is scalable, because of data security, and because of what it stores historical data. Can we move to the next one, please? Next slide, Pelumi. All right. So we have common types of relational database, right? We have a lot of them. Some of them are on the cloud. IBM, Infomix, Snowflake, those are on the cloud. We have SQL, we have Microsoft SQL Server, we have Oracle database. Okay, thank you, Adeleke. We have Postgres SQL, we have SQLite, we have IBM, we have MariaDB, Amazon RDS, SAP HANA, Teradata, IBM Infomax, and Snowflakes, right? My favorite of it, I'm so sorry. My favorite of it is my SQL. I'm a lover of my SQL, and my second favorite is Postgres SQL. And maybe Microsoft SQL Server can come along the way, maybe like number 3 for me, right? And then maybe the other ones like Oracle, SQLite, MariaDB, I've not tried them before. So depending on the industry that you work for, but the most important ones, the most common ones are the top 4. MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle database, and Postgres SQL. Those are like the top 4 currently in the industry that most of the organization they make use of. All right, can we move to the next slide? Okay, yeah, so before we move on, there are 2 types of database, I forgot. We have relational database and non-relational database. I think I forgot to add that in the slide. Relational database and non-relational database. Just as the name suggests, relational database, the tables or the database you are working with, they can relate with each other. Just the way you do data modeling in Power BI. I'm sure you guys did data modeling in Power BI, right? The way one table can relate to another table or can communicate to another table, using creating relationship, one-to-one, many-to-one, many-to-many, yeah. So that is what a relational database does, right? You can relate with tables, while non-relational database, you cannot relate them together, because with a relational database, for example, if I'm bringing in, let's say, a table that has to do with customer order, I know what I will see there is the order number, the customer name, maybe the product the person order, and the price of the product, right? But with non-relational database like MongoDB and Cassandra, in a table, I can have a data type of, I'm sure you know what a data type is, right? I can have a data type of integer. I can have a JSON file. JSON means JavaScript object notation. I can have a text. I can have different things in one table. I can have picture, right? I can have a web link. But when it comes to relational database, you cannot have all of those. In my customer data, maybe my customer table in my relational database, I can just have my index of maybe number, let's say customer ID, order ID, integer, customer name is text, order number, let's say voucher, and then let's say our price will also be what? Integer or amount, right? But when it comes to non-relational database, in my customer table, I can have my customer picture there, maybe their family picture. I can have maybe a link to their BVN or a link to their NIN platform. I can have their name. I can have different kind of things in it. But a relational database will not support that. So non-relational database support any kind of data type in a particular table. It doesn't matter how it's formed, but relational has to be structured. That's why we have it as SQL, structured. But for non-relational database, we call them no SQL. That means they are not structured. Even with the no in front of it, tells that this one does not accept the structured pattern of SQL. This one takes anything anyhow. Do we understand the difference between a relational database and a non-relational database? One is structured, the other one is not structured. One accepts only a particular way of data. The data has to follow a particular pattern, while the other one accepts any kind of thing, any kind of junks, right? Okay, I can see your emojis. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Who is laughing? Great. So let's move on to the next one. Is that all? Okay, yes, move on. I need to talk about what MySQL is. Sorry. So our focus for the learning is, can you move on to a slide before this?
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay. Yeah, so what is MySQL SQL Server? I did a little bit. So this is a relational, RDBMS means Relational Database Management Studio. Relational Database Management. I've forgotten what the S is. Is it a studio? Please give me a minute. Is it studio or structure? Please give me a minute. Let me check. System, sorry. So it means a relational database management system developed by Microsoft. So my MS SQL Server is from Microsoft, while the other ones I mentioned are from different organizations entirely, and they are commonly used for enterprise environment for various applications, including data warehousing and business intelligence. So that's like an overview, right, of what SQL is and what SQL is used for. And our focus for this training will be Microsoft SQL Server. I'm sure that when other speakers come, they will like dive deep into Microsoft SQL Server. So let me see if I can share my screen and then show you the interface of Microsoft. Oh, I cannot share my screen. Okay, I cannot share my screen. I don't know. Is the access locked? It's
Wait,
saying only
let me.
meeting organizers and presenters
I will
can
do
share.
that. I will do
Okay.
that now. It's I just skip my mind. Coming in seconds. What about now?
I can't share. I'm joined with two of my accounts.
Okay, I made the
Because
two
one is
presenter
from my
already.
phone. One is.
I make the two
Okay.
presenter, so you can check now.
All right. Okay. Yes, I can see that. Okay. Let me share my entire screen. I guess my screen is up.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this is how it looks like. All right. So this is how, let me try to close and then. So I'm sure you guys downloaded already. But if you've not downloaded, you have to download your SQL and then you download your SSMS. This is SQL Server Management Studio. This is like a graphical interface of it. So once you click on your SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, once you click on it, hold on, it's loading. I guess it's loading. Okay. Okay, it's taking a time. It's taking a while. Okay, so when you open this is what you find, right? It is always advisable to do your Windows authentication than doing a SQL Server, because this asks for login, and this can really be a very, very long process because you need to like do something before you can log in and then put your password and connect. So it is advisable for a user to use the Windows authentication and then just connect. So as long as you're on your Windows, it gets your details and then it connects you straight up into the SQL Server Management Studio, right? So this is what you see. This is what you see. You have this here saying database, system database, and this is not part of it. System database, you have your master model, this, right? And you have all of this. So it's best you don't touch any of this. All the security, server objects, application management, please don't touch because, and don't try to drop them, because you dropping them means that your SQL Server Management Studio might not operate the way it's supposed to operate, right? I think your only business is this database, meaning creating a database and then querying a database. All right, so where do we get started from here? Here you see this thing called new query, right? New query. When I click on this, my new query, it gives me this page where I can query my data, right? So once I have this and I can query my data, what do I do? SQL is like you writing a programming language, right? So it's not something I advise you to cram or try to, force yourself to know it by fire by force. No. The more you do it, the more you know about it. So this is what I'll tell you. Just go to your browser and then type how. So the first is how to create a database, right? How to create. Always use Google, Mozilla, a database in SQL. Or you can do in Microsoft SQL Server. Yes. Then you will have this, create a database, Microsoft. I don't want to use Microsoft. Let me see if I can get other one. Okay, so let me see this one. Let me open this. Okay, so it will tell me all of these things, blah, 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 blah. But I'm looking for the syntax to create. It's telling me to connect. When I connect and I click on new, this, let's see. Then we have here, create database sales, right? So if I want to create a database, a database is our entire library, right? So now we are creating a database. Create database. Let's do NYSC, right? I can put a semicolon and you can leave it without putting a semicolon. But if you want to give yourself like a programming kind of feel, you can put a semicolon and do execute. Right. So once you execute, you have this saying command completed successfully, and it gives you the completion time, the time and the seconds it took for this code to run. So once I do that, let me check my database. I still cannot find this NYSC I created here. Why? So I have to what? Refresh. Once I refresh, automatically I have NYSC created here, right? So we're supposed to work with a particular database, superstore data, but I'm sure that I don't know, because I'm logged into an administrative endpoint. Let me still see if I can import that particular data. So let me import this superstore under NYSC. Let me come to tables. Then let me come to new. So I'll come to my task, right? I want to import a data. So I'll click on import data. Okay, next. Where is the source of my data? My data is what? Is an Excel file. I'll click on Excel. Let me click on browse. So it's asking me where is my data. My data is on my download. Then let me click on open. Okay, so the path to my data is here already. Then I'll click on next. Okay, so the same operation allowing. The operation could not be completed. So it's because of my access, I'm not able to do this, but I'm sure the next speaker will show you how to like import directly with a CSV file. So what I will just do is, this our database we've created, right? Let us insert some data into it by ourselves, and let us now try to now query that data that we put into it. Like I said, we don't have to cram, right? We've created a database. Let's come back here and say that word, how to insert data into my SQL database. How to insert data into my SQL database. So let's open this and let's follow the instructions. Yeah, you can also use W3 School, is also a very good platform. Okay, let me see this. Now let's scroll down. So it's telling us insert into, we'll give our data. Now see we have inside the library, we have shelves, right? So let's say this table name is a shelf, right? Inside our big library, inside our database. So we say insert into, give it a table name, then we'll put our colon, colon 1, colon 2. But no, we don't even have it. We don't even have a table created. I think the first thing we have to do is we have to create a table. Right, we have to create a table. So let me just copy all of this syntax. Let me copy all of this and let's run it. We have to create a table. So let me comment this out. When you create a database, you have to tell my SQL that now I want to use, because there are a lot of databases here. This is HUY, this is NYC. There are a lot of database. You have to tell him the one you want to use. So the one I want to use is my the NYC database, right? Let me comment this out so that it doesn't create it again. Okay, so now I will use, let's click on it, command successful. So I've used this. Now let me now create what? A table. Inside this my NYC. Let me comment this out. Right. So here we're having employee ID, first name, last name. Let me remove the primary key and auto incremental. Our employee ID will be an integer, first name, last name, address, email, department. Let me remove all of this. Let's just keep it as this. Just the first name, last name, address, and the email ID. Right, now let me execute this. Right, so if I refresh now, under my NYSC, if I check my table, them say TBL employee, right? So this is our, am I still on the call? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so this is the table that we've created here now. Now let us now put some data into this table. So let's go back and let's copy the insert function that we have here. So let me copy this. No, let me copy this instead. I hope you guys are following. I hope it's not getting difficult. So let me comment this one out. Let me comment all of this out so that it doesn't have to run again and then we don't have errors. Right, and then you can comment also that in case you make any mistake, you can go back to your previous query to see where the mistake is coming from. So don't always delete, just comment out. Right, so insert into table name. What's our table name? This is my table name. Let me copy it here. And then let me bring it here. Insert into table name. Like I said, you don't have to cram it, right? It's saying colon 1. What's our first colon? Our first colon is employee int. So let me put this here. Right, we don't have to put the integer. This is our colon. This is our second colon, the name. So I'll put all my colons. Let me put employee last name, comma, employee address, comma, and employee email ID. Okay, so now that I have, let us now put values into all of this, right? So for our first employee now, what's our employee ID? Let's call our employee ID 001, right? Then the first name, anything that is name is always put in a string, double quote. Okay, why is all of this giving me errors? Do I need to put them in a string? Okay, I'm coming. When we run it, I'll try and look at the error message it's giving me. Let's put the employee first name. Let me put my name here, right? And then let's do employee last name. And let's do employee address. Let me put Ibadan. And employee email ID. So let me do this. Put ire@nysc.com. So let's run this. We're having some red flags already. So let's run it and let's see what error it will give us. Invalid colon name. Okay. So let me comment this out. Let's see why the colon name is invalid. So you start getting errors, but it's okay. It's good to always debug it. But let's do our first select. Select. Let's see the table that we created, if it really created. Right? So we can say select or from where? DBO. Right? The moment you start typing employee. Now let's run this. Okay, so our table was actually created, right? We have our employee ID, employee name, last name, email address. Now to now put in data into it. Let me see. So I'm trying to wrap up. Let's see if we can insert one data into it and then try to query values. So where's the error? Invalid line 16, state 1, line 15. Let me see. Okay. Okay, there's an error. Let's go back. Let's go back to Google and let's do show me how to insert a value in Microsoft SQL. Okay, so you don't have to cram anything. All right, so let's see this. Let's see what this is saying. We have the insert into table, colon name. Let's see if we can see an example here. Okay, so I have insert into employees. Yes, employee ID, last name, first name, close bracket, values, 10, Anderson, Sarah. Okay, so let us see where our error is coming from. Insert into TBL employee, which is our table name, employee ID, employee first name, employee last name, employee address, and employee email ID. right? So we have the values here. This is integer 001. Okay, so what could it be? Does it have to be okay? Let me see. Maybe it's a double quote. Let's use a single quote and let's see. Okay. Then let me do array@nysc.com. Now let's run this. I don't know why all of these are still having. Okay, so it's saying one role affected, it is completed. How do we know that this has actually worked? Let's comment it out. And let us execute this, our select all. So the fundamental query, basic query you will need is select all. That's like your debugging tool, right? That's like your console.log, right? In SQL. Your selector helps to know everything in your database. So once I do this, I can see the value I entered here. Employee ID 1, my first name, last name, email address, employee address, and my email ID, right? So I can insert another value. Let me comment this out. The reason why I'm commenting, okay, let me show you the reason why I'm commenting out, because the thing will start clashing with each other. So let me try to do another insert without commenting out, and we'll see the error that we have. So let me look for a name in the comment section here. Okay, let me say Pelumi, and let me change this to Adewale, and let's change this to Lagos, and let's change this to Pelumi at NYC. Right, so if I try to run this, oh, I'm supposed to have changed the ID. Right, so it still ran, then it gave us our select. So we can bring in multiple information into our table. So now that we've inserted some values, let me click down. Now that we've inserted, let's do some basic query. Let's do some basic query before we go. So we've selected all. Select all will give us all the data in our database, right? So let's do select all from where we are writing English language now, like somebody said. Where, let's see, employee ID, right? Where employee ID underscore ID is equals to 1, right? And let us query this one. What do we have? Only the ID that have ID number of 1 are being shown. The one with ID number of 2 automatically has disappeared, right? And then we can do select where employee name is equals to, let me put my name, Remide, right? Now let's query this. Okay, I don't want to use the like. I don't want to use the like is a bit complex. I'm sure others will do it. So let's keep it that where the ID is equals to 2, right? What's going to happen? Yes, we have the ID of Pelumi, right? So these are basic syntax that we can have, and then we can do order by. So let me use select or. Then we can now order it by. It's actually ordered already, but then let's say we want to order it in descending order. So we can do order by employee underscore ID, right? In what? Descending order. Let's execute. So you see that Palumi comes first and then the other ones comes beneath. So that's like an example of everything about SQL and the basic query. So select all from, then use where, then select all from, maybe you want to order by, maybe you want to order it in ascending order or in descending order. If you want to order it in ascending order, you put ASC, but automatically by default, it arranged. Like I said, the structured query, it is organized. It arranged itself in ascending order. But if you want to see the other way around, you can just put the descending and then it's organized. So I'm sure the next speaker will pick it up by bringing in the superstore data and then help you guys like dive deep into SQL. So basically that's all from my end. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having me. If you have any question, please put it in the comment section. I'm checking.
Thank you very much, Ire. So at the end of the session, we are always like give people like 5 people room to ask question. So I can see some people hand are up already. So I can just allow their mic so they can ask their question. Is that fine?
All right, that's fine.
Hi Yusuf. Hi Yusuf, your hand is up. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi Okpemi.
Good evening, Ada. So when she wants to
Evening.
enter the SQL server, so I was unable. I asked earlier agenda what was the server name for my own disk because I tried to log in asking for a server name. How would I be able to access the SQL studio? Because I opened it and it's asking for SQL name, server name rather. Do you get my question?
Okay, I think it's based on your installation. What did you install? Is it the Express or developers?
I cannot remember. It was the link they sent to the group. I've installed it since then. I did not even get the question you're asking me.
Oh, so I need to because let me share my screen again. If you can see from my screen that is up right now, if I go back to my connect, the server names comes automatically because I downloaded Express. You can see SQL Express. So I have my server name, it comes automatically. Because first you have to download the SQL server, the Microsoft SQL server. Then when you install that, it will now tell you to install SSMS. The SSMS is running on the SQL server. So they communicate with each other and then it will just give you your server name. So you don't have to impute any server name. So you have to look at what you installed. I guess maybe you installed the wrong package. That's why it's asking you for server name.
Can you allow me to share my video so I can show you, please?
Yes, you can share your screen. Let's see.
No, I'm using phone. I want to share my video, so I will be able to show it to the video.
Okay, some people hand are raised. Okay, Mr. Adewale say your server name is your local machine name.
And this is the. Can you see?
The screen is blurry.
Yeah, it's telling you to browse. It's telling you to browse for more. Can you click on the browse for more? But ideally, you're not supposed to have this. Can you read out what is beneath that is faded?
Browse
Are you sure
for
you
more.
downloaded Express or developers?
Should I? I don't even know. Please, maybe I'll contact them through the chat.
Yes, maybe you have to like you have to uninstall and then reinstall and ensure you are installing the right thing. Because I just installed mine like few hours before the class and I didn't have this. So once you install my SQL server, it will tell once that one installs and it's completed, it will tell you to install what SSMS. Once you click on install, it takes you to the browser, the page where you can install. When you click on download, it downloads, and then once everything installed, they just communicate to each other. Do you understand? Without you having to impute any of those things about maybe your server name it's supposed to be automatic, right? So people hand are raised. If your hand is below me, can you just like control?
All right. Thank you for
I saw your hand
that
raised first.
question. I can see Mubarak. Hi Mubarak. Mubarak, are you here? All right. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, ma. Guys, I really appreciate the lesson. Now, please, I want to ask ma, every time that, though I came late because of the network over here, so it's not that good. So I want to ask because I met you when you were researching from certain like, can I actually do that if I get to the level that I don't even understand, or is it that I always use that search engine to do this particular SQL?
Okay, so let me get your question very correctly. You want to know if you use the SQL search engine for SQL?
If I always use this Google searching, I think you were searching for some like how to do this, how to do this, how to do. Is that actually
Yeah.
like do it, or I have a knowledge of this like because I came here because of research, right?
Yeah, so like I said, right, SQL is like you writing a program, it's like a programming language, right? So you don't have to cram anything. The more you do, right, the more it stick with you, right? So I work with several SQL database like MongoDB, MySQL, Postgres. So most of these things are just if I once I reach a roadblock, like I was trying to do something, it was giving me error. I went to Google to say, how can I create a database? How can I insert into my database? How can I create a table? You will see the syntax there. Just follow the process, right? But the more you keep writing these queries, the more it stays with you. Do you understand?
I mean, let me probably I should help him reframe his question. I think what
Okay.
he's asking is that as a beginner, that does it need to have like a foundation knowledge, or the way you are just going to Google to ask, because you need to understand, I don't know, you need to understand what we call when to use select, when to use where. So you may have a question to actually want to ask the database and just go to Google and may not even understand the syntax. So he's not saying, is it the right way that just as a beginner, whenever I need something, I just go to the internet and ask something like that? I think that's the question is
Yes,
asking.
as a beginner, yes, as a beginner, I always go to the internet to ask because whatever you're trying to do, somebody else has done it. And before we went into the SQL, into the server, right, we did an introduction of what database is, what SQL is. We tried to understand all of the different things about SQL and database. Maybe you have to like get the replay of that part for it you to like understand the entire thing. And like I said, the foundational thing for creating a database is select all from your table name. That's like your debugging tool. That's one thing that you use all the time. So even if you want to ask it any question, you still have to select. You have to know select all from, right? Then when you see all the things, then say, okay, I want to now get maybe customer ID with ID of 5, or people that order from us in the last 1 month. Do you understand? Then you now start writing other complex query to your select all from, right? But I'm sure the next speaker, Jide, will pick it up from there. It will really show you guys how to like dive in and then query a database, ask questions to a database. Like we said, the SQL is a librarian, right, that has the database. You are the one asking the SQL questions, right? So all I just wanted to see at the basic level was I want to just see all the tables, all the information in my table. That was all I wanted to say, nothing more. Yeah, so
Thank
as
you,
we
ma.
go to the next class, you understand how to do deeper things. Yeah, with SQL. Or how to ask no deeper questions.
Thank you
All
very much, ma.
right. All right. Thank you very
Right.
much,
Next
Remedy,
question.
for
Sorry
that.
if I may jump in, Pelumi. Hi,
Okay, boss.
Ire. Well
Hi, sir.
done for the amazing presentation done. Can we give a round of applause to Ire first before we even
Yay.
start asking a lot of questions? I hope you can hear me. I
Yes,
can
I
see people
can.
clapping. Okay, great. I think that was the perfect introductions you did. I'm not sure I've seen anybody did introductions to SQL like that because you make it very simple. I like the part of the library that you talk about and all that. So just to quickly chip in, I think one of the issue that I think a lot of people may have is probably because we start with creating table. So maybe if we are able to successfully bring in the data we want to bring in. So people can use that to practice before the next session. They can just do some select and just do some where and all that, right? But I think that issue occurred because we could not load the Excel file into the
Yeah.
database. and I think that's a known issue with Microsoft. So you can only kind of import Excel file that's no more than 2016. Immediately you have Excel file that is saved based on probably Office 365. You may not be able to import it into an SSMS. So what I did is I've saved the file as a CSV so we can bring it in as a flat file. I think I sent that data set to you. I'm not sure if you have access to it. I probably should just bring it in as a flat file now so that people can use that to practice during the assignment, right? And another thing I also noticed, I think during the time where you were using where and when we were inserting table, I think probably the mistake you did there is the double quote. So instead of one
Yeah,
quote, so the Microsoft database, I think they prefer one quote compared
one
to
code.
other,
Yeah,
yes, MySQL. So I think that's it. So probably what we should do is let's connect to that CSV file. I'll send it to our group so that you can use that to practice even everything Iremide did, all the where, uh, all the from. So you can always say select from this file and then try and play around with that data even before the next session. So Ire, do you have that data on your computer there?
yes.
You want me to share my screen and show it?
Okay. Yeah, please, you can share your screen.
Oh, okay. So I think I've shared the data with everyone, so people will get it on their file. So let me share my screen just a second. So let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay, it's up.
Okay.
The screen is
So
up. Yeah.
so somebody that was asking about a server name. Server name is just your computer name. So that's just your local machine name. So because we are using on-prem and then this is not like a somebody else database you're using. You're using your server yourself. So which means whatever your computer name is, that's what's going to be your server name. So we are not doing anything really too complex for now. And then Iria shows you how to create a database that is very simple. She created something on NYC, so you should probably try to do that when you are doing your database. So she just say create NYC. So when you are creating your own database, you can easily just do that, execute that, and that's going to run for you. And you have your NYC database. So once you have your database, what you should do is this is my own NYC now. You should right click on it, then come to tax somewhere here. You see tax here. Then you see import data and import flat file. So you should use a flat file instead. So just like I said, I've sent the CSV file to everyone so you can use that to bring it in. And then you do next, and then you select the file name, you just browse it. The file is called superstore something something. Yeah, this one. So once you have it like this, then you do next. So it's going to preview the data for you so you can see what is inside the data set. Then you can do next again. Then here, this is also important because I'm sure you talk about different data types that we have, because if you don't change the data types, some data type may actually cause some issues here. So for profit, I think it may actually have some nulls inside. So if I want to allow null, I can say, okay, allow null here. Even in sales, probably allow null. So it doesn't give me any issues in case there is null. Then I'm going to do next and then finish. So once I click finish, you will see that the operation is complete. So I have the data set in my NYSE database, which is this. So if you look at the table, you will see the table under here. You can see it here, Superstore. So you can now start querying this table. In fact, you can start by just right clicking it and say select top 1000 rows. So it will even give you the select top and the statement that you continue your statement from here. So let it be like our assignment so that when we are watching the recording, we can always load this data. One of the assignments is load this data and start playing around with it. So that's the part I want to chip in here before we start taking our questions.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
You're welcome. So Pelumi, please continue. Let's take all the questions so that our expert here can
All
answer
right.
all the questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, boss. So I think Sheyi hand is up. We only have three people more. Hi, Sheyi. Okay. Let me just go to this other person. I don't think he's here. Lubem. Hi, Lubem. Okay, I can't see Lubem again. Hi, Prof. Prof. Somebody. Hello, can you confirm you can hear me? I don't know if these people are hearing me or not.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Good evening.
Okay.
Okay, you
Good
can hear me
evening.
now.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I think Adewale already answered my question because I think in the beginning, around early September, I downloaded that SQL Server SSM and all that. But I was trying to import a file from Excel. At a point I began to think maybe it's a spiritual problem because I tried everything, went on YouTube. I saw a video by Oyinboke, many people like that. Watched a lot of videos, but I couldn't import. So he has already said what I was trying to ask about. I've been waiting for this SQL class to bring it up.
All right,
So I
thank you.
think you already answered the question as to why. Because my office is 365, so that answers it.
Okay, thank you very much. So
Thank you.
glad you have answers to your question. So hi, Adeleke. Hi, Adeleke.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, Lubem. Okay, go on. Good evening.
Class.
Can I speak?
Please, I just want. Okay.
Go on, Lubem. I can hear you.
Yes, I think she was talking about and where we're trying to disconnect to server issue, and she said something about is it SQL Express or something like that. I'm
Yes,
not because
please.
because I'm still having the same issue. I'm not able to connect to this thing. It's still not working.
I think what you should do is uninstall when you are installing your SQL. Ensure you are when you are clicking SQL server. Make sure you are downloading Express. We have two, developer and Express. Make sure what you select is Express.
Okay, that Express now this Express 2022, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I tried installing that one as well. I was seeing something like basic, custom,
Yeah.
and
Then you now click on basic.
okay, basic, right?
Yes. Then
Thank you.
once that installs, then it will tell you to install the SSMS for it. Then once you install the SSMS, automatically they'll connect by themselves. Do you understand? All you have just make sure you are doing is you are selecting window authentication and then you just click connect and then you are in.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. So the last person, Adeleke, are you here? Hi, Adeleke.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. I want to ask question on data security.
Okay.
So I want to ask that when you are talking about what makes SQL stand out of other databases, scalability and data security. But mine is just that, for instance, now is it that the SQL server is also a physical storage, though more of like a cloud now that someone can buy in terms of data space that one can store data to. In as much as one is using it, one is so much secured and confident that all works of data query, retrieval, and many other things like that are being done, and we are so sure that data will not be lost. It's not necessarily someone is paying right now. How so sure can one be?
Okay. So in a real life situation, right? Every organization have a server, right? And sometimes this server is not always in a physical location. For some organization, you can still have like your server maybe in your organizational premise. For some organization is on the cloud, right? So the server has its own SQL server installed on it already. Do you understand? That one is not really your work. That's like the work of your IT guys, IT administrator and network administrator, right? All they will just do is give you access to be able to connect to that SQL on the server. Do you understand? To whatever SQL you're using on your laptop. But because this is like a test, right? That's why when you are installing, you have to first install SQL Server to run on your local machine, right? Then when you have a server installed on your local machine, then you now install SSMS. The main thing you're using to query your database, everything is on the SSMS. But the server has to power the SSMS. Do you understand? So
Yes.
because your server is with your network guys, like the security of it is already assured, whether it's on the cloud or in a physical base. Those that are in charge of this network security and server security, they will do their job. Do you understand? So it's not really your job to be like, so how can I keep the server secure and all of it? That's the job of your network, the network engineers in your organization. But however, what I'm trying to say is that SQL is secured in such a way that even if somebody picks your laptop, right, and want to manipulate any of your data, they will go through several security checks. Like for my organization now, if you want to connect to the server, they have to send you an OTP to your phone. Do you understand? Then until you impute that OTP, you cannot connect. So for a different organization, they have different like two-factor authentication process that you have to go through in order to be able to connect to the server and pull information and do whatever you want to do. Then once you are done, you log out. You leave that entire premise. That's what I'm saying, that except the person is a hacker, do you understand? And the person like really wants to get your organization information, that's when the person will go the extra mile to, try to breach the security. But if you are putting your organization data in Excel, I'm saying that for an Excel file, anybody can pick it up, have access to it, manipulate the data, do whatever they want to do with data. So Excel is not like a secured way of storing sensitive information about a customer or about an organization. Do you understand?
All right. Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I think we don't have any questions. So I want us to appreciate our facilitator once again. It's not an easy one from our coming here to take us. Yeah, close to 1 hour 30 minutes now that we have been on the call. So let's appreciate our facilitator. It's not an easy one. Let's appreciate her. Yeah, she's an expert. So let's always appreciate experts. All right, thank you very much, ma. Really appreciate your time coming around to take us. Yeah, and we hope to have you around once again, probably next year. Yeah, thank you very much, ma, once again, and thank you very much, everyone, for coming around for today's session. Here it may look as if it's not an easy one, but you just have to practice. Yeah, when you practice, yeah, you get familiar with it. There is nothing that is hard. So SQL, when you practice, you can also know it. But you get the recording after Adwale upload it on the YouTube so you can practice. So let's practice. And I'm hammering practice. So let's do it to practice. And for those that are yet to finish their Power BI project, you can still do that and let us know if you have any issue. Always reach out on the group. That's the WhatsApp platform. So since we don't have any questions, so I don't know if Adewale have something to say before we go this evening. Hi Adewale.
Nothing from me that to say a big thank you to Ire.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's do well to enjoy the rest of our evening, everyone. Bye, everyone.